Hey ladies, welcome back. We are doing a summary of March wins and also setting you up for April in terms of an April game plan. So I want you to use today, this evening, again, just using this time to reflect on what's gone well for you this month, and then looking at resetting for April. What do we need to change moving forward? And then also looking at recommitment. So thinking about what you intended to do on this journey. What was your intention? What did you pick as your special word at the beginning of the year? And for those of you that have sort of joined later into the year, again, going back and watching, again, that first video. So, things that I will say that collectively from all you ladies, we would definitely achieved in March is more consistency with the food tracking. And again, higher protein targets, just sort of hit more often. So again, for some of you, when obviously you get replies directly and you'll know what I'm talking about as well. But for some of you, it was just gauging where you were right now in terms of protein and then looking at increasing that as well. And also just sort of with tracking as well. And if that's the route that we've chosen for you, it almost becomes a bit of a game, right? It becomes a game because you're tracking and you're just trying to sort of jiggle things around. And this is again where using things like the desktop, MyFitnessPal can be really helpful. And in terms of showing up to Zoom calls and staying engaged as well, it's been really good this month. And I know we've not had like loads of people on the calls, but definitely there's been at least one or two of you that have been showing up to calls very consistently, which is great. And what it also means is that when you do come to the Zoom calls, and if you're watching this back, is that not only do we present the topic, but we always have a little chat or a debrief either before or after doing the slides or going through the slides. And then again, this just sort of allows us to kind of touch base, see one another in person again, talk about some wins, maybe even talk about some challenges, maybe even just loosely talk about the weekend. And again, with these Zooms, you will have noticed that the frequency, we are doing them again between 1 or 2 times a week. So Mondays and Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. at the moment. And again, this varies in terms of my own schedule as well, in terms of what we've got planned. So we will be talking through that as well. And then obviously always looking at the strength gains. So whether you're training at home or, in the gym for those workouts, we're also providing or looking at that progressive overload. So again, some of you will have seen that the progressive overload video from before, or for some of you, we've just kind of gone over some of these tips individually. So looking at almost cycling your workouts, thinking, okay, you start the movement, you're getting used to the movement pattern. You then try and get out a few more reps. Then you're having a look at, increasing the weight. Then you're focusing on like the technique again. Then you're getting comfortable again, almost looking at it in that sort of cyclical routine. And then thinking about better relationships with food. And again, fewer all or nothing episodes as well. It's so interesting how, again, if you have been tracking or you've been using like, more of a framework in terms of meals, that it's so interesting how some of this can like, you've had a blip, maybe you've had like some social stuff going on, but just understanding that that one day is not going to be the be all and end all, and knowing that we can move forward from this as well. And then obviously thinking about increased steps and energy awareness. So some of you had noted that you really liked the reminders that I'd been putting into WhatsApp. Again, with those reminders, checking off your steps as you go out through the day. Also within the check-ins as well, always noting your like energy awareness and that sort of thing. and how that relates to, again, the food that you're eating, how you're fueling yourself, and sleep, and all of those things. So this kind of tied in a little bit more to that slide just gone, but what made March hard? So for some of you, it was sort of navigating the social events and meals out. Some with sort of lower energy and disrupted sleep, again, for various different reasons. Perhaps maybe some sort of perimenopausal symptoms, maybe even looking at the way that you tackle or approach your sleep habits and how you approach your evenings as well. And then for some of you, unfortunately, we did have moments of sickness, niggles, and injuries. So again, with this, just adapting the training load, adapting the training style as well, giving you a chance to kind of offload, the structures when it comes to sort of niggles and injury. And then obviously we're now looking at resetting as we come into April. Even with the sickness, again, just a reminder, when if it does happen, because it does, like, getting sick is just a part of life, right? Unfortunately, it would be brilliant if we just never caught anything, but we have to be realistic. When you do get sick, it's really important that you let me know as soon as you can, so that we can increase your calories, bring you up to a more of a towards maintenance phase, because it's really important that we look at working with the body and not against it. So typically, if you have been hammering it and really going hard, the stress has increased, your calories have dropped, and you're really pushing out, there's so much coming at you from every area. You are going to get sort of immune system, perhaps maybe not as strong as it normally would be when you are fully fueled. So just sort of managing that. And this is where having that sort of more maintenance, more normal week can actually help with your recovery. The same goes for injury quite often, but in terms of that bout of sickness, it's all about sort of trying to fill your cup. And then once we feel as though the energies are back, the output is back, you're able to get the steps in, you're able to train, everything's feeling more comfortable again, then we can start working you back into that deficit. And then just the struggles with consistency, like work getting in the way, just life taking over. Some of you ladies had mentioned that there were lots of things going on in the news over March with different jobs and different sectors. So again, the workload just coming up. And again, March for many people, it's almost signifies the end of the year. So getting everything done before April hits. And then also the mindset shift around the whole thing of feeling stuck with weight or progress. So we did tackle this over the month. We looked at addressing this on calls and also with talking to you individually. But just coming back to it, when you are feeling stuck with weight or progress, we're trying to look at things from a more, how can I put it, more like open-minded, losing the words here, but just being a bit more open-minded with in terms of how we track progress. So that's why we are looking at things like how your clothes feel, how your sleep's going, how your recovery, how are you performing. So there's so many different ways that we can kind of celebrate the wins that can kind of keep us going, or just purely stepping back and being honest with yourself and saying, if my weight is feeling stuck, have I truly done everything that I should be doing in order for me to see changes? So is that adhering to nutritional targets? Is it increasing or ensuring that your NEAT is up? So things like your steps and your activity and your fidget levels, all of those sorts of things. Are you being a busybody and are you sort of expending in that sense? Are you doing all your workouts? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you hydrating? All these little things do really matter when it comes to looking at that, but also, again, when we're looking at progress, looking at other features, as I've said, but even the metrics. So it's not all about weight. It's really important that you, as annoying as it is, getting the tape measure out and measuring body parts. It really does help. Maybe even noting how you feel in your clothes. Pictures are really important as well. Again, I've highlighted differences that I've seen in you ladies. Again, when we're looking at things from zooming out and we're having a look at progress over a period of time, I'm looking at how that looks and then obviously showing you as well that you are winning or you are making progress. So again, yeah, just coming back to it, just be really honest with yourself. Have you done everything? And if you have truly, then something needs to change. And in that case, if something needs to change, that's us having that conversation about moving the needle along, troubleshooting, and finding out where we can push you along to get that progress. But please be patient. Okay. So what are we going to do differently in April? And when we're thinking about April, we want to think about real life and real results, as always. So again, it might be revisiting and rebuilding your weekdays structure, again, to protect your weekends as well. So again, what I mean by this, if you are burning out in the week, it might be that you need to set some rules around work and around how that kind of fits in, giving yourself cut-off times, really prioritizing your sleep as well, and not just saving it all for the weekends. And even at the weekends, being in that position where you feel more energized to get out and get some extra walking done. The weather is so nice right now, and it's only going to get better. We've just had daylight hours hit us, so the clocks have all sprung forward. And things are going to feel a little bit shaky or a bit different the first few days here. But just knowing that restructuring things and giving yourself those sort of boundaries around how work sits as well. And maybe it might be that because it's sunnier, you're able to get up earlier and you utilize the daytime or the morning to get that work in so that it can free up some time to do other things in the evening. And then looking at holidays. So I did mention this in the group the other day, but coincidentally, everyone seems to be going on holiday or having trips over this month. And that obviously coincides with the fact that we get a really long weekend for Easter, the 4-day weekend, which is really lovely. So again, we're going to look at some approaches around that, revisiting sort of calorie banking as well. Again, if you're really unsure about this and how to create flexibility around this, shoot me a message privately and we can kind of work you through, either direct you to some of the videos that I've created on this, or even have that conversation between us about how this might work for you, especially with events and things. So even if you're not going on a holiday or Easter's not a big deal, it's also, you know, other events are happening, weddings are happening and that sort of thing right now. And then just focusing mindfully, just again, I say focus on the mindset, but this also ties in with like prioritizing the movement and recovery and not aiming for perfection all the time. I know it can get you really down when you've not got that Monday session in, and then the weeks run away from you. You're like, your motivation feels low. It's like, do something. And if you know you can't fit that workout in on a Monday, get out for a walk, get doing a mobility circuit. Again, sort of, these are built out within the app as well. There are some nice sort of 10-15 minute mobility movements that you can do, or maybe even longer if your body's really not feeling up to it. But just knowing that if shit has hit the fan and it's a mental week, you know that you've ticked off that one thing. And I know it might not be a workout, but it's something that you've ticked off, right? So coming to the calls, I will drop this in the group for you as well with these topics. But next Monday, we are going to be talking about breaking and building habits. So again, with this, thinking about the long-term structuring of this, again, if you've found yourself being in a certain way, how can we get out of this? So we'll be working through some different tips and tricks, and maybe you might even make it a little bit more interactive as well. Maybe you will need to do some homework for me there. And then Thursday, the 10th, we are going to be looking at how to manage these holidays. So we will be revisiting the training and the nutrition around holidays as well. And then Monday the 14th, setting you up for Easter, bank holiday weekend, how to fit in the chocolate, how to enjoy your meals with your family, how to just not stress out and just like panic about everything. And then Thursday, we will look at some live diary reviews. So again, with this, just pop on, again, give me your consent to look at your diary and we will go through things and look at swaps live. And again, this will be sort of a recording that we'll do based on your diary and that other people can learn from as well. And then on Monday, the 24th, we'll be looking at eating out, the kind of best go-to options. So maybe even looking at some of my favorite restaurants or your favorite restaurants, or maybe even restaurants that you go to that don't have any information in terms of you can't find the stuff on MyFitnessPal, for example. And then I'd love to finish off each month now moving forward with some wins. So again, just doing a review of the month at the end of the month of April. But yeah, just want to remind you that you are closer than you think. I know that summer is literally around the corner right now, and this is really the time to kind of, we've built the first few months of the year just sort of working through different topics or different, educational bits as well. And now it's really time to kind of dive in. I know this is tricky with holidays and Easter and weddings and all sorts of things, but really trying to make the most of the days that you don't have stuff going on. And then, yeah, progress is progress, even when it's quiet. So even though you can't see it, and it's not showing up on the scales, for example, progress is still happening behind the scenes. So again, just a reminder that muscle building does take time. It takes time. I will probably, again, maybe we'll cover this on a future topic, but again, how much muscle do you actually build? It's slow, right? But it's happening. And keep showing up. Keep showing up. That's what counts. And again, April is your opportunity to build on what's already working, and let's make it all count together. So what I'd love you to do after this call is jump in the group, share your biggest takeaways from March, maybe even share with everyone else what you want to achieve for April and how we are going to change things and get you moving forward. Thank you, ladies, and we'll see you soon.